Okay, let us talk about the exosphere of the atmosphere. Two Greek words, exos, meaning outside, beyond, external, and of course the word sphere, meaning sphere. So when we need to understand that there is a difference between the Earth's at, uh, exosphere and other exospheres that exist for other planets and natural satellites, such as the Moon, Mercury, Ganymede. Those have exospheres as well. The difference is the Earth's exosphere has denser atmosphere below it, whereas the other ones don't have that. Uh, so we eg, eg, well the exosphere is a very thin volume that surrounds either a planet or a natural satellite, and there's not much really to say about this layer of the atmosphere due to lack of research and study on it. There's a lack of research and study on this high altitude layer, but we still can find a few things to say about some of its characteristics. Uh, First of all, we know that if we consider the exospheres of other planets besides besides the Earth, so we can say those exospheres have done just like I just said. They don't have a supportive uh, dense atmosphere underneath, and the molecules on those exospheres, they don't collide, you know, with each other as in the lower layers of the Earth's atmosphere. They are virtually collisionless. Okay, so because the density of the gases, of the molecules in the gases in the exosphere is so low, So there's virtually no movements. There are actually no movements among the molecules and particles in the gases up there. So, but what happens is that most of the time the molecules just uh, are just ejected in some forms of elliptic uh, trajectories, and then reach the surface. So that's basically the the nature of the exospheres of the moon, the Mercury, and Ganymede, and that's what happened. That's what happens, within those within those exospheres. That is why this they are called surface boundary exospheres. Surface boundary exospheres. When it comes to the Earth's exosphere, it is also a thin layer with little movements among the particles in the gases, among the molecules. The movements, the collisions are really rare, as opposed to what happened, as opposed to what usually happens in the lower atmosphere, in the lower layers of the atmosphere, such as the tropopause, the troposphere, tropopause, and so on. So the exosphere of the Earth is the topmost layer of the atmosphere. It is located right above the thermosphere. And as you know, there's when you try to understand the layers of the atmosphere, you also have to understand the behaviors, the makeups of the boundaries between them, such as the tropopause, stratopause, mesopause. Those are boundaries. And but the the exosphere is so thin, you know, uh, as opposed to the denser atmosphere below it. Is so thin that it merges with outer space. So it's not easy to define a boundary between the exosphere and the outer space. Okay? So this is something that we need to keep in mind. We know we know the other boundaries are easy to define and understand, but not the one between the exosphere, which is the topmost layer, and the outer space. Because once you want one once you reach the exosphere, you actually on your way to the outer space. So we know that there's not just like I just said. We don't have to. I think we need more data in order to understand this very important layer of the Earth's atmosphere. And let's say, but what would be the thickness of the exosphere? That means it is its location, its distance from the sea level. Uh, Remember, it is the I would say it is the beginning. It is the transition. It is the transition from the atmosphere to outer space. Okay, so it is about, I would say, let's see, let me think about it. I think it is about mm, maybe like maybe 500 to 1,000 kilometers, which account for 310 to 620 miles from sea level. That's the height of the Earth's exosphere from sea level, about 500 to 1,000 kilometers, or 310 to 620 miles. So that's a long way from the troposphere, from us. Uh, so, but if we can also talk about the remember the exosphere is there's a boundary layer between the thermo, thermosphere and the exosphere. That boundary layer is very crucial. It is very important to understand, because it is called the exobase. Exobase. Let me repeat that. The boundary layer between the thermosphere and the exosphere is called the exobase. But there's another name for it, a very unique name, because at that point the static pressure, the static end and the static pressure of the air doesn't matter much, and also the dynamic pressure does not matter much at that point. So what I mean by that is that when you know that the density of the air and the static pressure of the air, those they decrease with altitude. So the higher the higher the altitude, the lesser is either the density of the air or static pressure. So at that point in the exosphere, the density is so low. There is hardly enough static pressure to actually have some sort of barometric measurement. So for that reason, the exobase is also called the critical altitude, because at that altitude the static and dynamic pressures virtually are non-existent. Okay, because of the low density that that is present in the air. So I believe that we have covered the layers of the atmosphere, of the Earth atmosphere. We started with the troposphere, we moved on to the stratosphere, we saw we covered the mesosphere and the thermosphere, and then finally today we are talking about the exosphere. So that that will be this is the last YouTube video I'm doing on the subject, since right now we are at the top of the atmosphere, the exosphere. Well, now if you go higher than that, so now you are in outer space. You are in outer space. If you want to if you want to go higher than the exosphere, then you are in the outer space. So I believe that's it for today, and then I am going to go back to my previous subjects on the with regards to aerodynamic aerodynamics and flight theory. I'm going to go back to those kinds of videos. I just took a break in order to cover the the Earth's atmosphere. So meanwhile, have a good day and then be good.